Welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah show. We are live here Friday, March 14th. It's a third hour on Friday, which can only mean one thing on this show. What just happened? As we look back at the insanity of the week, and I'm winded, I'm tired. It's been too much of a week. I just can't do it. But helping us make sense of it's Amanda Gail is back, comedian. She's performed at clubs across the country, written for Reductress, and been on this show and many other shows on SiriusXM, and co-hosts a podcast, The Audacity, right? So The Audacity, Amanda?
We're actually clickbait now. We're on a podcast network. So
It's called Clickbait?
yeah, it's called clickbait. CLIQUE.
All right, my friend. Clickbait with Amanda Gail. And now we got the good liars. We have both of the liars are here with us. Uh, Davram Stiefler, half of the comedy duo, and Jason Selvig. And they both have a podcast called The Good Liars Tell the Truth. Gentlemen, good to see you again. I've seen Jason slash John at various things. Good to see, that's his real name is John. So
Yeah.
good to see you. Thank you guys so much for being on. And you know what
Yeah.
is really great that in these difficult times, we have someone like Chuck Schumer fighting the good fight to inspire us because you need the fighter like that to be out there and go like, okay, so we learned today Chuck Schumer is going to cave in and support the House GOP budget resolution that gives Trump and Musk more leeway to cut the budget. Why have two parties? Like, I mean, why, if you're going to do what they do, why not just be them? Why? I don't know what's going on. Amanda, what is your take? Are you inspired? I mean, I've said for a long time, Chuck Schumer needs to take an improv class. He's right here in New York. There's
Yeah.
UCB, there's Second City, whatever. Learn. And now with this stuff.
Yeah, I just think some people are just not skilled politicians. And I think he might be one of them. I think he needs a class on being a skilled politician and saying a little more polished of what he talks about.
And some fire would be very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
A little
Jason,
bit of
what
fight.
about you? I mean, I know that you're a big fan of his fighting
Oh, yeah.
spirit. You
Oh,
model
yeah.
yourself, and your speaking cadence is modeled after him. So
Exactly.
what is your take? So don't be offended by what I just said.
Oh, I want to talk about Sweet and Low for about 20 minutes now, if that's okay with you, just like Chuck
Sure.
Schumer. But I like Chuck Schumer. I mean, it's good to have some like young energy right now. Chuck Schumer, he's a spry 74 years old. He's there. He's fighting the good fight. And I will actually disagree with you. I don't
Oh.
think he needs to take improv classes because the Republicans put this bill in front of him and he said, yes, I will sign it. And now we have no leverage right now. So
Right.
he was doing like a yes and improv thing, but it feels like he's like an old school or just maybe just old politician where he's like playing by the old set of rules in Washington, like kind of like Biden did. Like we're dealing with Trump and Elon Musk and like the federal government's getting gutted now. There's a wrestling CEO and they're just destroying the Department of Education. And he's just like maybe playing like a game here where he's like, well, I'm going to vote yes on this. And then maybe I'll get these favors down the line. I hope that that's at
Right.
least going through his mind right now, or there's some sort of chess being played here. Otherwise, it's just like a really terrible way to go about this. And Trump just was on Truth Social, just like complimenting Chuck Schumer
Of course.
right now, which is like weird because Trump, he loves going on Truth Social, like to put his like meme coins out there and his $60 Bibles and stuff. But now Chuck's there.
Well, you might be selling a Chuck Schumer coin in
Well,
the future.
that's what I'm
There-
saying.
you know,
Can
that-
I have a name for his meme coin? You
Oh.
ready? Chuck Bucks. Chuck Bucks.
Chuck Bucks. That's actually excellent. I like that. I'm going to buy it right after this, but I have no money left because the stock market's crashed. So if I had anything left, Devram, so what do you think? I mean, maybe it's a rope-a-dope thing. Like Chuck is like, he's bringing in Trump and he's like, I'm going to wear
Oh,
him
yeah.
out.
Well,
And like
to-
Ali
to-
versus Foreman. And was it Ali versus Foreman or no, Ali versus,
Yeah.
Foreman Rope-a-Dope, I think.
Rope-a-dope. No,
Rumble
it
in
was
the Jungle,
in-
was it?
no, it was in Africa and it wasn't.
Yeah,
It was
Rumble in the
Foreman.
Jungle.
Yeah. I think, all right. In any event, you know what I'm
So,
saying? Like,
in any
is
event,
is he playing possum? Is it
I
something
wish,
like he's doing the
I
dead bear?
wish.
What is
I wish-
going on?
I think Jason said maybe this is some game of chess. It just doesn't feel like it. It feels like we're in a moment. We're in a moment where there's the first like possible leverage it feels like Democrats have, and just begging for someone to fight, just begging for it. And then this moment presents itself and it doesn't happen. So no, I guess I just don't see the long game here. It just feels like giving up. And then to top it all off, as Jason also mentioned, the Truth Social stuff, like calling him so courageous for caving in. It was just such classic like bully behavior. Now that you've gotten your way, it's like making him feel good for joining, but it just felt really twisted and bad and like the exact opposite of what we all needed to see.
Right.
So congrats, Chuck, on just making us all feel a little sick, a little sick.
Maybe Chuck Schumer is the hero Gotham deserves, but just not the one that we need right now. So we're going to hunt him because he can take it. Sorry, that's the.
And he's got the abs for it too.
Well, that's
He's
right.
got
That's
those
part of
Batman abs for
it.
it.
That's
Turned
part of it.
vaguely
I wrote
into a
two-
threat there at the end.
Yeah,
it
was
really
interesting.
did.
Yeah.
It really did. It said
And
we
we're gonna
too, we
hunt him.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No,
think that
because
means all
the
four
first
of
part of the
us.
Batman quote made sense. Was I read it on? So we're on.
I read on and now I'm on a list, so I don't
It
know. what
wasn't
to
a good
do there.
idea.
Yeah.
I should have just stopped with because he's the hero Gotham deserves, but not the one it needs right now. You know, I just wrote an article about it in his defense. I'm not defending him, but saying there are different leaders at different times who fit. In Biden's time, he was pretty good. He actually got confirmed more judges than Trump in the first term. He was good at navigating that. He's not the hero we need right now. Amanda, who's the hero? Reed? Is there someone out there? It could be a superhero figure. I'm going off the menu. Like whatever you think. What do Democrats need? Who's the kind of person we need to run the party? Or maybe there is a Democrat in the party that could do it.
I mean, I think we should have an Elon Musk type guy. I mean, that he seems pretty popular as a co-pilot. I mean, I think that the Democrats would be great to be the first one on Mars. I really, because that's what it feels like we're living on right now. So, yeah, I think we do need a 16-year-old boy kind of leading the party. So
we need a 16 or 60-year-old.
16.
A 16-year-old boy. I wonder
16.
who could that be? Like Jason, is there any rich, cool Democrats who are younger? Sam Bankman-Fried, but he's in jail, or he would have been my first choice, of course.
Why not? Hey,
he
what,
gave a lot of money to Democrats.
Why not, though? Yeah,
anybody from doing anything. I mean,
pardon him. Free Sam.
Pardon him. Free him.
Free Sam.
Whatever.
Free
He's
Sam
a convicted felon. That's not going to stop him from running for president. Trump could have been in jail. You know, he could have been convicted before the election, and then we would have had this whole other problem. But I just want us to stop it right there. No rich people. The Democratic Party needs to like stop cozying up to billionaires, stop rolling over, start fighting like you actually care about working people, and say, no, billionaires are bad. Billionaires are bad. We don't want to associate ourselves with billionaires. I know they're writing the checks for these huge $100 million Senate campaigns, but please, no more billionaires at all. And I don't know if it's I keep going back to pro wrestling. It should be a professional wrestler. It should be somebody who can engage an audience. I don't know about John Cena. I know he just turned into a bad guy now. This might be a little too inside baseball for the wrestling fans.
Tell us about it.
No,
it's a big deal.
This is really great.
Yeah. No, but so is it John Cena?
We can play this on the wrestling channel. We have a wrestling channel at SiriusXM.
Okay, good. Well, we're now on a progressive political channel, so I'm going to continue to talk about wrestling. No, John Cena, maybe the guy. We need somebody who can engage an audience, somebody who is not Chuck Schumer going out there saying, we will fight, we won't lose, like chanting and then literally immediately losing. Right.
I want more decaf coffee.
Wait, Ventura. Who's that guy Ventura? He was the governor.
Jesse Ventura.
Jesse the Body Ventura. McMahon.
I want.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I want Schumer to bring the same passion he does when he's sat near the air conditioner at a restaurant and he wants to move his table. I want that kind of like
There's
this.
a draft.
The draft is too great.
I'm here with Bernie Sanders. We're dying.
America
You're trying to kill
again.
me and Bernie. Look, there are Democrats saying good things, and let me just read because it's not the entire party here. This is clearly the exception. You have some Democrats. Jeff Merkley, senator from Oregon, was on CNN yesterday. He said the best time to take on a tyrant is as early as possible, and this is the moment. He said you don't stop a bully by giving him your lunch money, and you don't stop a tyrant by voting to give him more power. Exactly, because this legislation not only cuts $13 billion in funding, like $800 million from Veterans Affairs to build facilities, it actually some way codifies this Elon Musk Trump whimsical cutting what they want. Another person, Rose DeLauria, a Democrat from Connecticut, said that this takes away any remaining restraints and guardrails from the Trump administration's efforts to dismantle the government. Like, this is bad. I mean, this is like we're yelling about things and we're going to the courts, and now they're going to, and just so it's clear so everyone knows, they needed 7 to 8 votes in the Senate of Democrats to pass this because the filibuster. Rand Paul pretty much was not going to vote for it, so you really need 8. So yes, Democrats could stop this. I have people online going, they couldn't stop it. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Stop writing online.
That's
No
right.
one's ever. That's the first time anyone's ever said that to someone on social media. Like, you don't get it. But, I mean, what do we do? I like Jeff Merkley. He's like, when you're going to fight tyranny, you take the
Right.
early battles. We're 50 days in. You don't lay down and play possum and go like, we're going to
People
emerge
need-
next year.
Yes, people need to like have the fight, be willing to have the fight, and I think take a page out of the Republicans' book and be a little bit shameless about it. I think it was Elon's son X, I believe,
That's
said.
his name. His
Yeah,
name X. And all his kids
think
name
that
X,
was his name.
X1, X2, X3.
He
Like
said
it's
just-
X squared.
I think he was repeating something he'd heard his dad say, and he basically said, just say whatever you want, and then do whatever you want quietly. He literally said it like it was right out of Elon's mouth. So all this stuff, cutting veterans affairs and saying Blue Lives Matter and support the troops, but then doing whatever they want. I think that's part of the playbook that needs to be taken. So get shameless and just fight. Stop worrying about winning people over with logic when that never works. Win people over with their emotions. Tell them what they want to hear and play the games, I guess, because it didn't work to do it otherwise. So, yes, I guess these Democrats saying the good things, the ones that you just listed, keep saying those things and then do whatever you have to do behind the scenes to get shit done. Otherwise, we're going to be in the situation we are now. We're watching people roll over. The very first moment they don't have to, the very first moment they could do something else, we're watching it happen again.
Yeah, Chuck surrendered before the battle. This would be like the
That's right.
Revolutionary Army. Like the British are coming. We're done.
We're
I
done.
didn't know
Oh
they
my
were
God,
coming.
the British,
They're coming.
they're huge.
Here.
We're done.
Awkward.
We're done.
Everyone let's just walk away slowly. So
Right.
Amanda, last night, and I thought it was a great split screen. You've got Chuck Schumer surrendering to Trump and Musk, and at a town hall in North Carolina, our Republican Congressman Edwards is there, and literally 300 people packed the room and 2,000 outside booing where you could hear it in the room over the cuts. And I usually don't curse on the show, but I'm going to read by what this veteran stood up to the Congressman Edwards and said, "You have nothing to say but lies. You're lying. I'm a veteran. You don't give a fuck about me." And the security guards come and he's an older white guy and they're grabbing him. And he goes, "You don't get to take away our rights." And they lead him out. And right before he leaves, he sort of stops and he yells, "Fuck you." And the place goes crazy. So his last words to the congressman were to curse him out. And the place went crazy cheering. And that's what we need. I want Chuck Schumer to be that. I want him to be escorted out. And he's the hero we need now. And Trump and Donald Trump, no, I'm not out of order. You're out of order. That's my closing argument from Injustice for All. Al Pacino. Sorry. What do you want? Amanda, I think Democrats need to curse. They're on C-SPAN's cable. Just curse. Come on.
They also need to do that, and he needs to go after his wife's looks, and he needs to
Wow.
He needs to be calling them losers. He needs to, that's what that's the game that's what got Trump elected. We need to stop playing by the rules. No one cares. The thing about Trump is he understands media so well. And he plays by his own rules. And that translates to the American people as, oh, you're going to stand up for us when behind closed doors. You're not going to, but no. He's not playing by the rules to get your attention. He doesn't not play by the rules for you.
Right.
People, this is what happened with, sorry to go on a rant about this, but this is what happened with Chris Christie as well. People think that if you're a jerk, you're honest. People think being a jerk is authentic. When no, that's not. People do not trust an Ivy League well-spoken person. They don't trust that. They say, "Oh, you're trying to get something over on me." But when you are a brash jerk, people say, "Oh, I trust you. You're real," which that's obviously not true, So.
Right. Jason went to an Ivy League school, I'm pretty sure, just based on his demeanor and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he's always trying to get one over on.
By the way, hang on, Amanda, if you were going to make fun of Melania's looks, what would you say? Because you're a woman and you can say it. We can't say that. We could say it.
I mean, I'd say how old is your cat? How old is your I don't know. I'm not good at. She's actually gorgeous, so it's not.
Well, she's been built, right?
Oh, wow,
she was when she was younger, she was a model, but they really rebuilt her over time.
Well, she looks tired. I don't know that. I know if you say that to a woman, they get upset. I don't know.
Say it to me, I get upset. But people are like,
that's a tough assignment. That is a tough assignment.
Like, oh, I don't know. Like, what's it like dating a dry? I don't know. How do you guys get it on at your old age? I don't know, actually. She's actually
They,
gorgeous.
they don't
So
get it on. They had sex once and they had a child. And that was it. That was in the contract. We have
she just
sex
looks
one time.
mean.
Okay, I
Yeah.
have child. Next. That's the
Right.
end of it. Jason, all right. So what about, don't you think the passion at the town hall, that's what my bigger point is, that Democratic event where thousands showed up is the passion of the Democratic base. People call my show and they want fighters. And there is Chuck Schumer 400 miles away going, I know it's going to be bad, but the two jobs and it's a hobby. I think he said it was a Hobbesian, not a Hobbesian choice. Like, he didn't say Sophie's choice would have been just like amazing if he said that.
Right.
Like he didn't say Sophie's choice. He said it was another Hobbesian choice. I guess like two bad choices. But I mean, come on. I mean, why not just vote against it? And Merkley, who was not being like bravehearting it, he was being pragmatic. I read that line. He goes, if we have to shut it down, we do, then we have leverage, we negotiate a better deal. That's the point. It's not worth saying shut the government down forever or for months to be punitive. If you got to shut it down for a week to make a better deal where you're not going to cut for veterans, and it's remarkable. The military got $850 billion this year, and they're giving them $6 billion more in this. Like no one's asking for $6 billion. Who are we fighting? We could take over Canada for like $2 billion. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
well,
So,
yeah.
I mean, that's
who knows what the real plans
Greenland,
are
a
with
few
that, but
hundred
yeah,
thousand dollars. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, Chuck Schumer, I'm sure from his point of view, he was like, maybe the optics of this are going to be the Democrats are shutting down the government if no one votes for this. And then that could be any of the problems with the economy, anything like that. That could be blamed on the government shutdown when really it's going to be all these Trump tariffs that are causing all of this turmoil right now. Maybe that's what was going through his mind. But I do hope that these town halls keep happening and Republicans keep doing this, but I have a feeling they're going to stop. They're going to pull the plug on them because now they're being overrun with people who are out there and actually like doing the work that Democrats should have been doing. We just talking right before we went on in the joint session. Like I was there watching Democrats like sit there and look at their phones. And we talked about this on the podcast last week. At one point, Trump is like talking about police and all that, like how we support the police. And there were like 8 Democrats who got up and were like, January 6th, January 6th, when it should have been like all of the Democrats being like, January 6th, don't forget, riot the Capitol right here. And it was just, there was no unity in it. So I hope there's going
what
to
happened when Al Green got
message.
up? When Congressman Al Green got up and waved the cane, what was it? Was it tension in the chamber, or
Oh,
was it more?
tense. It was
really
like,
was.
It really was. Like it was the only time during the whole speech where I was like on the edge of my seat. Like I leaned forward, like, "Oh my gosh, what's happening here?" Because the security guard came over.
Storm the Capitol.
I was like, "Let's do it! Come on,
let's do it! This is the moment!" Yeah,
the storm is here. Let's do this.
The storm is here. Yeah, he's really JFK Jr. I know it. But he when he got up, a lot of the Democrats like were looking around like almost like a little embarrassed. It seemed like that this was happening. There wasn't like yes, we are backing one of our own here. It was like they were like just going to see what happens here, and some of them didn't even stop looking at their phones. It was like apathetic, empathetic. It was like a terrible response.
No one followed him out like that. Like even just to go to the bathroom, like someone could be like, I had to just go to the bathroom.
Right. You could have it both ways. Yeah,
right.
you could
like,
follow him out and still
I
see the
didn't
rest
follow
of
him
the
out.
speech.
I was going to the bathroom at the same time, and I came nothing. Like if
And
every
people just
Democrat got
left
up and
every
walked
once in a
out
while.
with him, if every Democrat got up and walked out with him, that would have been the story for like 2 days. It would have been like
right.
Democrats
But there was
doing
no
something.
story. The story was like, yes, he did that. He was the only person that really did anything. People with signs, but everyone else was just kind of like looking like they couldn't care less, and it was really sad. It was sad to watch.
Jason, they had those little circular signs. They were holding them up.
Fans.
They were fanning themselves with their messages. Come on, that was a lot.
That was
all
sides to go on.
speech.
Yes.
You see, Colbert he did a great monologue, and he goes, "I have a message for the Democrats." He held a sign up. It's like, "Do something."
Yeah.
You know, like that's like, yes. So we're chatting with Amanda Gail, and both of the good liars are with us. So let's talk about. Have you guys ever played the Kennedy Center? We did a show there a year and a half ago. I did a show there. So last night, JD Vance went, and for some kind of music of some sort. I think it was like I think it was an orchestra. That's what it was, like the National Symphony or something like that. So they held up the proceedings for 20 minutes for security reasons, whatever. And then the video, he enters, and he enters like the emperor in the back, and everyone's head turns. And then you start hearing booing. Like, thank you. And people booed for like 30 seconds. And then they're like, okay, let's watch the music. That was enough. They're like, we made our stand. Like, at least they booed him. And he waved like they were saying hello. Like he's like Lou. And they're like, oh, no, they're not saying, your name's not Lou. It's J.D., whatever the J is for. And they're booing you, jackass. So, Davram, what do you think here? I like this. I like that they booed him. I wish it would have booed for longer. But these are people going to opera and classical music. 30 seconds of booing to classical music people, that's a lot. And they did it like on an E flat, which was kind of remarkable.
Right. Oh, yeah. So musically, you think they nailed it. You just wish they would have stuck the note out for a little bit longer.
Yeah, and the conductor's like, and now let's go music.
No, I'm with you. I think for this particular crowd, that 30 seconds was a long time. So good for them. And they let him know what they thought of him. I'm a little worried I helped prepare him for this moment. I tried to return his book to him personally once, and I walked up to him and I said I didn't like the book, and I thought the main character was unlikable. And he didn't give me the $16.99 back.
Really?
Yeah.
You said so. You said how many years ago
classless.
was this? How many years ago was this?
What was it, Jason? 3 years ago?
When he was running for Senate, 2022, right before the primaries.
Right. So, and actually someone else refunded the book, refunded me, but he didn't. What I'm saying is I'm a little worried. I prepared him for this moment. He was ready for the negative. Did
you talk to him at all, though? Did you have any conversation?
No, I mean, I was like, I just didn't like the book. I want my money back. And then, I was escorted out. But anyway, I'm glad they let him know.
Jason, were you there? Did
felt.
you record that? Was that part of the Good Lives
I
thing?
was there. It was in Ohio. I don't know, like April.
I didn't like the book. He should have said, like, why didn't you like it? Like, he should have been a human. Like, if I wrote a book and you said, hey, I read your book, I didn't like it, I want the money back. I would be like, well, first of all, you consumed it, but why didn't you like it? Like, I would have had to talk to you.
Well, I said I didn't think the main character was very likable.
And it was him. And so we're talking about Hillbilly Elegy.
Right.
So,
I like the couch, though. The couch was a good character in that book.
The couch?
Right. The love interest.
Well, I think it's fun. I love that. By the way, the booing at the end of the booing, they're like, and the booing is brought to you by, organic, gender neutral food. It was like a PB, it's like an NPR spot like that, because everything is like pure. I can't believe JD Vance going to the symphony while bad mouthing everything that is like. And there's another level to this. Like, it wasn't to a Kid Rock concert. He went to the symphony with his wife. Like, it was, and his Yale law school stuff. That's where you go. And I don't know why. At some point, maybe the media picked that up, because he's Mr. Rugged guy with his eyeliner and his Peter Thiel, whatever bullshit. Unbelievable. I don't know where we're going. All right. So look, I think Donald Trump hates the stock market, or hates me because I have money in it. Right? 401 IRA. I have an IRA in it. Yeah, it's not.
It's all personal. Yeah.
It's all about me. This is Jim Cramer, though, on CNBC, who's not a liberal. He's about making money. He's pure and simple, Jim Cramer. I like the Wall Street people who are like, it's not left or right. I just want to make money. At least you're honest. Like, that's what you are. And that's what Jim Cramer is. He actually said, it looks like Trump is manufacturing a recession with his tariffs and his uncertainty. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting. Now, he didn't say he's shorting the stock market or something, but I'm like, maybe he is. So what do you think, Amanda? Do you think there's a part of Trump that wants to hurt the American economy and then later go, look what I did. I know I treated you all badly, but look how nice I'm treating you now. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised. I think he thinks in seasons, because he's like a reality star kind of guy. So he's like, all right, season 2, the recession's going to hit. Season 3, I save it. Season 4, I have another pandemic. Season 5, I get,
There can't be another season.
Another pandemic.
He's thinking in seasons. He's like, because, in a reality show, you need drama. You can't be boring, So maybe this is.
I think you might be onto something, to be honest. The idea, because it's early in the term. He's not running for re-election. Like, he's not leaving alive, but he's not running again. Like, he's just not going to leave. There's nothing. Someone else could win. He'll just be there. Like, it's Trump. He's not going.
Yeah, he's just wandering around.
Ignore him. Barely left last time. Barely left.
But sorry, if you talk to my father, he'll be like, nope, this is the last election. This is the last election, Joyce. You got, like, they are like,
it might be.
This is the end of democracy.
Your dad's a genius.
Right.
I like your dad. Your dad.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think I was with Jason. I thought we were on Eamon's show where I said that I say things on air that I sincerely believe, and people think I'm saying it to get a rise, or I'm like, Donald Trump's not leaving alive, right? He's either going to die in office in the next 4 years or just stay there until he dies. I mean, I don't see him. He's not leaving peacefully. He didn't leave peacefully in 2020. So, I mean, like, people are like, why would you say not peaceful? He didn't leave peacefully. He started a terrorist attack in 2020. All right. So, I mean,
even if
Jason,
he dies there, though, do you think they leave the body there just out of respect? I mean, there's a way that he dies.
well, you guys want the CPAC? Can't they make a gold statue of him, like at CPAC, and just put him there
in gold and
like have his hand out like that? People come in and shake Donald's
like Han
hand.
Solo. He's just like in gold like that. Yeah,
exactly. People shake his hand and leave money in it and everything. Yeah, so there's also that option.
I think that. And there you go. He never leaves. There's always a little bit of Donald Trump. And to be sadly honest, every former president, there's a little bit of them there. That if you ever go to the White House, it's like a shrine to past president. So there's pictures and busts and garbage. Who knows what Trump's thing will be? Like the guy Dogecoin or some kind of
It'll be called the Trump House. He's going to change the White House to the Trump House.
Paint it gold. It's going to be gold now.
He's trying to redo the Rose Garden already, right? He's got his. He's
the gold garden, the Bitcoin garden,
gold garden, right?
It's gonna be the Bitcoin garden. Like
he has no idea what it is. He's a crypto guy.
Last week he announced the whole crypto. He used to be against crypto, then he's for crypto. I was on News Nation, and the anchor's like, "What do you think? Donald Trump's now peddling crypto." I'm like, "Well, when a convicted felon tells you they have a good investment opportunity, you might want to think." And News Nation is not MSNBC. The anchor's like, "What did you just say?" Like, that's the truth. He's a convicted felon. And he's saying, "I got a great opportunity for you to invest in." I'm like, you should be on guard about that. I don't know what the problem is.
On that note, like, he also was like against electric cars. He was like, electric cars are stupid. It doesn't work. And then he literally said it. Elon Musk gave him $300 million to, help him get elected in 2024. And then he literally said, like, hey, Elon, he's been very nice to me. So now I'm pro electric car. And like, I think it's just like, these people, the crypto people, were very nice to him. And he's like, I like them because they like me. And what's better than liking me? Nothing. So I'm going to help them out here. And I don't think there's any like strategy to it besides
the Van Winkle. Do you know the Van Winklevoss twins from the Zuckerberg
social
movie?
network?
So they're real people. They gave millions. They gave millions to Trump. They were at the crypto summit last week. Because I was reading about before I went on air. I'm like, there they are. And they were all, and billionaires are sitting around Trump who make a lot of money from crypto. And then they have someone on News Nation right before him on, like an investment person who's a crypto person saying how it's a great investment. I'm like, it's based on nothing. I don't care. Go invest in it. Do your homework. I mean, Apple could go down to zero tomorrow.
Have a whole pile of Bitcoins in front of the White House, if that's how Bitcoins work. I don't know yet. But he's going to be doing the infomercial for crypto very soon. That's all going to happen.
Do you think, like, instead of jelly beans in a bowl, we'll have a Bitcoin, and you could just take a Bitcoin before you go?
Yeah.
Guys, stop talking about Bitcoin. It's Chuck Bucks. Chuck Bucks are where it's at. Invest in Chuck Bucks.
Let's take a break. We got a lot more to cover, including, what part of Canada do you want to live in after Trump takes it over? And then there's Greenland, and nothing makes sense anymore. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with more of what just happened right after this. And welcome back. We're continuing our conversation with Amanda Gail. Both of the good liars, Davram Stiefler and Jason Selvig, are here. So Donald Trump this week continued with the Canada bullshit to the point where the new Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, actually said when he won his internal election, but he's going to be Prime Minister, we didn't ask for this fight, but Canadians are always ready when someone else drops the gloves. Americans want our resources, our water, our land. He goes, America should make no mistake, in trade as in hockey, we will win. When we're the bad guy to Canada, like, something is deeply wrong with our country. Like, this is where we are to the world. We are now antagonistic to Canada. This is like 1938 Germany, where Hitler's staring at Austria going, I want Austria. And that's what Trump is doing. We're literally at 1938. And if they do a plebiscite, we're going in. That's exactly what happened with Austria. They did it not to get in. I was just watching a Hitler documentary, which I keep doing on Netflix.
Yeah,
everyone, like,
I find myself
nonstop
doing that now too. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about
everything. I watch it. I go,
right now.
That's Trump. I'm like, that. Whenever it happens, like, Hitler wore a jacket. Trump wears jacket. You see that? The same. Like,
connect the dots. Look at my board.
You see what he's doing? He's got a no. Hitler had a dog. Trump never had a dog. That's the remarkable thing. So, Jason, what do you think? I mean, we're the bad guy, and the Canadian Prime Minister is using hockey analogies about kicking our ass. He's dropping the gloves. He's going to pull the jersey over our head.
It's crazy. It's crazy because to pick fights, like you come into power, you're like, I'm going to pick fights with people, and you pick fights with like our greatest allies, like somebody who's been with us through everything, really, Canada and our neighbors to the north. It's just like a weird thing to do. And I know you brought me on here because I'm like an economic expert. That's like
You
where
are.
my
Jason
expertise is.
Selvig.
Yes,
Numbers
exactly.
guy.
Syracuse
Numbers
University, College of Visual and Performing Arts. I'm an economic expert, but it's like these tariffs that they're putting on them. It's going to end up hurting the United States in the end.
What?
And yes, but I'm sorry. That's what experts are saying. That I'm not the expert saying it. There's experts that are actually saying it. And I hate to do this, but I'm going to bring it back to professional wrestling again for everyone.
Please do.
Here.
This is important.
In 1997, Bret Hart was a good guy. You guys know who Bret Hart is?
Oh,
Bret
yeah.
Hart, the Hitman Hart. Okay,
Hitman
good,
Hart.
good.
Hitman
DeVrom
Hart.
had no idea who he was when I was talking about it.
What?
Before.
Hart.
Now he
DeVrom's
does.
like
Before?
After
10 years ago?
yes,
People don't know
yes, yes.
DeVrom's 16, so that's why.
Yeah.
So good. He's a
It's
child
before
sitting in
my
a Brewster
time.
chair right
Before
now.
my time.
Bret Hart turned into a bad guy in 1997 in the United States. And his whole thing was, I am pro Canada. I love Canada. And the United States is terrible. And then the weird thing
He's
about
Canadian, though.
He's Canadian. He's Canadian.
Makes sense.
And he was a bad guy in America. Everyone was booing him. And he was like, Canada's great. US is bad. But when he went everywhere else in the world, he was cheered. He was cheered because he was standing up to America. And now it kind of feels like sort of the same thing where like Canada's going to have the sympathy of everyone else in the world right now because the US is just like picking on it and basically bullying it to take it over. So I encourage everybody, you can watch the World War II docs, also watch some wrestling docs on 1997 if you want to understand what's happening.
Educate yourself.
Wrestling with Shadows, great documentary. It's an actual documentary.
All right, Wrestling with Shadow. Amanda, do you think Donald Trump starts saying like Canadians are hiding weapons of mass destruction in Tim Hortons? Like they're in the Tim Hortons. We know they're there. We have to go in.
Right.
They're under the Canadian, like in Toronto, under the Maple Leafs, have hiding on the traveling into the country. He's going to ban the hockey teams from coming into the country because like they're bringing in disease and maple syrup against my tariffs. They're getting around the tariffs. Like, I mean, that's when we'll really have to be worried when he starts talking about they have weapons of mass destruction and we're going in.
If we know Donald Trump, he is definitely going to bring it back to the problem is the DEI. He will always make it will be something, this is going to be the DEI's fault some way, so I can't wait for that. But, to someone's point about, sucking up to Trump is a child. All Trudeau has to do is like, I think this is a great idea. Trump's such a genius. And it would be over. He'd be like, okay, we're not going to talk about Canada anymore. Canada's great. They got their own thing going. He'd have to be like, oh, Mr. Trump, your idea is so great,
That's, well, the definitely flattery works for this guy. He loves that.
Yeah.
Even I talked to, I'm friends with Mary Trump, his niece, who said to me many times that if she publicly said, Donald, I was wrong and you are great and all that, he would welcome her back in a second. Like that's the weird thing. Of course, they used to have a really good relationship at one point, to be honest. Like even in her book, her first book, it's not like a slam Trump book. It's about the grandfather was horrible. And oddly enough, in the book, Donald was like the only one nice to her after her dad died and gave her a job and all these things. So, there is some truth to that. Like he's changed as a person. Like there was a point where he actually was self-centered, but now he's Hitler. So it's a whole different thing. Like he's gone to like, he's a true sociopath. Like when you watch the Hitler documentaries, the commonality is the sociopathic quality of them.
And also the way Hitler spoke, like obviously I don't know what he's saying. I'm not fluent in German. I know that comes as a shock to all of you, but the way Hitler spoke had a populist way of speaking. So he knew how to speak to the disenfranchised, and Trump has a talent for speaking to the disenfranchised. So very similar,
It's true. And I think they both had their suits designed by Hugo Boss, which is kind of nice, right? Which is actually Hitler did. Trump doesn't have it. He's Italian. He's got like the Mussolini line. So Trump talks about Greenland over the weekend and said, not over the weekend, yesterday, I'm sorry. He said, we have to do it. We really need it for national security. And NATO might have to get involved. Maybe we'll see more soldiers go there. I'm like, what is Pop saying now? What is the crazy man in the White House saying? We do you feel less safe because we don't control Greenland? Because I've been pretty good without it all this time. But
now I feel so much less safe. Yeah, I didn't know we needed it. Anything could happen, right? We've been living on the edge of a cliff this whole time. We just didn't know it. So yeah, he's making me feel so much safer. I interviewed a guy. Jason and I went to the inauguration. I talked to one guy and I said, do you want Donald Trump to take over Greenland? he said, yes. And I said, how does he do that? And he said, he just shows up and he says USA, and that's it. So
Wow.
that could be in the cards if Donald Trump makes a personal trip to Greenland and just proclaims it USA. He didn't mention a flag, but I imagine a flag is
Right.
maybe planted.
Does he have to say it 3 times like Beetlejuice? Like, how does this work?
Like Candyman, actually.
Candyman, either one.
One doesn't feel like it works. So yeah, maybe there's like a saying it and a turning around and a saying it again. And then suddenly we're much more safe. We're much more secure. We have all these minerals, which apparently Trump knows so much about. Rare earth metals. Suddenly, those are so important to him.
Yes, the Elon Musk they are, right? The lithium battery for the
Yeah.
electric car. I mean, this is
Right.
this is a level of corruption that is brazen. By the way, Jason, speaking of, whenever anyone says Candyman, I think of my friend Judah Friedlander had a joke from years ago that he's working on a movie called, you say Handyman 3 times, Tim Allen would appear. And that was from like, right, exactly. So that was, I remember always, so whenever it says it, I think I haven't had Judah on the show in a while, but I know Judah well for a long time. He's a good guy. So we're continuing here with what happened. By the way, if we do take Gaza, I'll be the governor of Gaza. So there's, I don't want to get into
congrats.
it.
You did a little quid pro quo with Trump to do that?
I don't know what I'm getting in return, but yeah, I'm going to build a monorail to my family in the West Bank. So it's going to be lovely. They're going to come visit them. They're going to come over. It's going to be great. Nothing makes sense. That's the point. Like nothing. We're living in a time. Wait
a second. The Greenland thing makes sense, actually.
That's bigger than America. Do you know that's bigger than the United States of America?
I know, and my theory with that is that Trump was just in like 5th grade and looked at a map and was just like, oh my God, look how big it is. We should have that. And like, that's been in his brain ever since. Like, it looks so cool on a map. But the depressing thing about Greenland is right now, because of global warming, like now it's easier to mine for these minerals because there aren't like ice sheets and all this. And now Trump is like dismantling the EPA, getting out of the Paris Climate Agreement. He's actively doing things that are going to like make global warming. Yes, melt it.
Has anybody
So
checked
like,
on the textbooks at Trump University to see if this has all been laid out?
Oh, imagine that. Like he wrote his own little, he doesn't write a book.
It could be. I'm just saying maybe it was part of the curriculum and like this is all somewhere we can see these plans.
I remember when I said on Joy,
I think it's just a pyramid scheme, but
yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Pyramid schemes are definitely probably covered.
You have to get 10 people under you in your downline, and then you can get the plan. Yeah.
If Trump was going to take another island, like I would recommend Aruba. I love Aruba. And then you go there, and then to get rid of like customs is a pain. You have to do your customs on the Aruba side. So like if you just go walk through, it's like I love Puerto Rico because it is like it's America. You know, like
this is the Democratic message. You're really talking to the common man now. You're like,
right.
no, the customs is such a pain in Aruba.
You need Aruba. Like, I had to get global entry now, folks. You know, difficult ones. To bring my golf clubs through, it was a hassle. I was over there with me and JD Vance. We're talking about opera, and I'm like, you know, what kind of sandwich you use, JD? And he gave me a whole list on why the metals are better in his. All right, let's continue on here. So look, Trump's approval ratings are sliding big time. And this is the truth. This week, it's catching up because the economy is faltering. But there's something slightly alarming on a more serious note here. And I don't know if you guys see it, if you travel the country or not. Here's that top line. Quinnipiac, very well-respected poll, only 42% approval rating for Donald Trump. Reuters poll that came out yesterday, like 43%. CNN, few days before that, very similar. Donald Trump now has the lowest second-term approval rating at 50 days in the history of polling. Like he literally does. That's not a joke. Here's the part that was kind of serious in the Quinnipiac poll. 76% of Americans describe the economy as either poor or not so good. Now, not so good could be funny if it's said with an Italian accent. It's not so good, you know, that kind of thing. How's the economy? It's not so good. You have the you know, the calamari. Not so good with the shrimp today. But there are people, 76. I'm half Italian, so this is what we say. Hey, the meatball
that's
not
my
so
next
good.
question. Okay, good.
But 76% of Americans are now describing the economy as not being good. So there's something deeper out there, and it's reflecting in his approval rating. And I don't think it's just the stock market. Consumer sentiment. 2 studies came out in the last couple of weeks showing a big drop off. I think there's something out there that people are seeing. I'm not sure if it's higher prices or just simply fear or uncertainty that Trump, what he's stirring up, is making people that concerned. Or maybe there really is it's trailing the unemployment numbers, and we're going to see them really spike up because something's up. That's all I can tell you. And I used to call them, you know, we have economic indicators. I would call them the comedic indicators. I would ask comics who are touring the country. And if they're like, you know, the shows are getting lighter and it's not me, like it's a normal club. And it's like, so I don't know if you guys, especially Jason Davram, you guys are out there with the good liars talking to people. Anything you're seeing?
Well, we haven't been out that
No.
much in the last couple since inauguration.
Get out there.
down
What are
in
you
DC.
doing? This is why you had
No,
you on
I know
the
you're
show.
absolutely.
Well,
no, you're
went,
absolutely
I'm
right.
thinking about CPAC and inauguration, and it's hard to see a dent. But I know we're talking to the base, the true supporters, but he's never going to lose a certain amount of these people.
Right.
And I do think part of that, reality show host things coming through, what we were talking about earlier, Amanda, it's season 1. I think he's okay. I think he's okay with it. Like there's going to be a moment where he somehow the economy is going to start, showing signs of life, and he's going to take credit for it, and he's going to say these tough times were worth it, and he's going to blame them on the Democrats, and he's ready to use it. And even though it's self-created, even though it's something he's doing to himself and to us, he's going to take credit if and when things turn around even slightly. So I don't think he's worried about it.
Yeah, like the tariffs, he's going to be like these tariffs are causing economic turmoil. The stock market's doing terribly, and then he's going to get rid of them, and then everything's going to rebound to like where he was when he got into office. And he's going to be like, "Look, the magic I did! I did it!
And I
solved the problem
negotiated
I
too,
created.
and I got
Negotiated
this,
with
that, and the other thing
myself
that
to have
right
this
that they
happen."
were already doing. They agreed to do the things they were already doing, and now look what we've accomplished. America is
look
great
what happened,
again.
and with Ukraine, like he forced Ukraine to agree to a deal without even consulting with Russia. Apparently, I thought, assuming he had Russia on board, and Putin's like, net yet, like he's like, no, but there's some conditions, and Trump's like, look, he's saying yes, he's saying no, he wants to renegotiate the whole ceasefire. He goes, Putin's like, in theory, I saw the translation, whatever, I'm reading what they said. The big picture, yes, a ceasefire, but we have to have security guarantees, which means he wants the land. I mean, it's not like there's no ceasefire, but this is the world we live in. So, I mean, Amanda, I don't know how much you're traveling the country. I know you travel the tri-state area and stuff like that. I'm not sure if you're seeing things in the comedy clubs at all.
I mean, nothing I'm seeing, but to your discourse about the economy and how Trump's going to explain it, and I think it's going to go back to DEI. I really think DEI is the problem. When a white pilot crashes a plane, the problem is DEI. Clearly,
that's it. So everything is DEI. So the economy goes bad.
That's right. If tariffs don't work, it was DEI. Whoever was in charge was a DEI hire, even if he's white.
So it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's DEI.
Women, people of color, and white people who are not MAGA. So it's anyone but not him. Yeah, I mean, his economic plan so far is to blame Joe Biden, which would do well. But I think it's, Jason, and you guys talk about like the hardcore Trumpers are never going to admit anything. To them, they don't care. Like owning the libs is sort of everything. The bank could own their house and they won't care as long as they keep owning the libs. They could be homeless. I'm not wishing on it, but I don't know at what point it would be like, well, this is Trump's fault, or in their mind. And Jason, I mean, you talked to them a lot, both of you guys. You told me they get their news from Truth Social. That was one of the most alarming things ever. You told me a couple of years ago we were on the set somewhere, and I've told people that afterwards. It's no longer even Fox News. So Trump says these lies, like he says bullshit stuff. They believe it. That's what's so alarming.
Yeah, and I think that it's for definitely for that part of the base, they're still going to be like, oh, well, Trump said it, so it's true. And I think like with Trump's the idea of it, which is like it's not working in practice, but the idea is that you're going to bring manufacturing back to the United States by like all these tariffs and all this stuff. And eventually the countries are going to cave, and then you're going to be making more stuff in the United States. But it hasn't been done in a way where this could actually happen, where you can still, because there's like supply chains and supply lines to like get to make all these products. That's how like the world works everywhere right now. So I don't think that any Trump supporter is sitting there being like, I know it's like it's going to be different with supply chains right now, and things are going to be, it's not going to work out the way Trump has described. But as long as Trump spins it and is like, guess what? It's going to take a little bit of time, but we're going to be great again. Even if you get back like half of where you were, you're going to see an improvement and be like, Trump's the man. He did it. And guess what? Liberals are upset. So that's a win for us. We are all very happy.
The bar is low is a big part of this. I think the bar is low. If he can do so little and be celebrated so much.
And I think Amanda's makes an interesting point that as long as he doesn't embrace DEI, they're going to love him. Like the only thing that can make them upset, if he'd be like, you know what, women, black people, Muslims, greatest people, right?
Migrants.
that migrants, I want my administration is now filled with migrants. They're the best people. Then they'd be like, I think even then they'd go like, he's trolling them. You see, he's trolling them. That kind of thing. I mean, that's part of what's going on. So last thing I got to get your reaction that Gavin Newsom had Steve Bannon on his podcast. That's what you do when you're running for president. And then you had, before that, he had Charlie Kirk on. And the whole conceit of the podcast is that it's going to be, I'm going to speak to people on the right. Okay, you could speak to certain people. Steve Bannon shouldn't be on the menu. I think Charlie Kirk's a scumbag, but that's okay. You want to have him on. He's younger, whatever. But even Democratic Governor Andy Beshear, who clearly is getting ready to run in 2028, he publicly won against him. But what do you think? I mean, Amanda, I have no problem speaking to people I disagree with. They call my show. If they're civil, we have a discussion. But to platform Steve Bannon, who's really a bad guy, is, to me, it's a whole different thing. There's other people on the right you can have on and disagree who might be constructive. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's good that he's doing that. I mean, what else is there to do in California? I mean, what's going on in California that's so important that he doesn't have time to start a podcast? You know, I think it's
governor,
a great
right?
time to start a podcast when, you know, LA is on fire and people are displaced. I think this is a great use of his time. So
that's an excellent point. You're right. There is a lot of downtime in between the rebuilding the massive destruction caused by a fire. Right. So why not do there's probably more. He can do a Twitch stuff, something online, a YouTube show. I mean, maybe, Jason, we're underselling this. Like, it shouldn't be the question of Steve Bannon in a podcast. It's like, why aren't you doing more? Like, why don't you have a Substack? Why aren't you writing daily a Substack?
Yeah, you should have a Substack, have David Duke on there or something, you know, really broaden the base there. It's so funny just because, like, thinking about Davram and I going out on the road, like the people that have said like the most out there things to us, like the flat earth, the JFK Jr.'s alive, all like the QAnon stuff. Most of those people say they get their news from Steve Bannon's War Room. Like, it is like, he is super, super popular. And I don't know, Davram, if you agree with this, like a lot of people, I feel like, not that they get that information from it, but that's like one of their news sources as well. And he had like a whole bunch of COVID conspiracy theorists, and he was a grifter. He was selling pieces of a non-existent wall, like had to get pardoned or his sentence commuted or something like that.
No, he got pardoned for the federal crimes, and then the state
right.
crimes, he got a sweetheart deal.
So like sitting down with him, I totally understand like being like, I want to bridge the divide here, but I just think it's such a, of all the people in the world, that is one of the last people you should be talking to, especially when you're like, I want to run for president. Right. And he's like, obviously a very polished politician. Like, why even do that? It seems like a super unforced error. Like, who are you actually going to like appeal to with it?
I got to do a quick promo here. Next week, Steve Bannon joins me to co-host the entire week on the Dean Obeidallah show.
Oh,
I just had to put that. I forgot. Do you want to know the weird quirk? Steve Bannon used to be at SiriusXM, and I had emailed him in 2015. I was going to go on his show. I was hosting my own show, but it was on this channel, and he was actually pleasant enough, whatever, because they were like, okay, why don't you go on some right-wing shows and I'm like, okay, whatever. And we ended up not happening. And then we used the same studio at SiriusXM. So he'd be there in the morning from 6 to 9, and I would be in the same studio from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
What did it smell like?
What did it smell like afterwards?
It's just like death. It was like your broken dreams, a lot of bitterness, you know, a lot of things. All right, we're almost out of time. I want to give you all a chance to promote whatever you want, where people can follow you. Let's start with you, my friend Amanda. Where can people go?
The Amanda Gail on all social media platforms. You know, I'm at New York Comedy Club. Dean's there too. And I'll be at the Philly Punchline April 10th. So that's the big show coming up. And then that's the big one. No one else books me. So I'm just kidding. I'm doing a lot of shows. Just follow me. I can't even think of all of them. So
she's so busy, folks. We can't believe we have her here today. Davram, what about you? Where can people follow you and Jason? And
oh, yeah. Please check us out on TGL NYC on Instagram. We have our podcast, The Good Liars Tell the Truth. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts. Watch it on YouTube. And please subscribe on herohero.co/The Good Liars. That's where you can get exclusive content, pieces of our podcast, additional podcasts you can only get there. And everywhere else, right, Jason? Anything I left out?
Jay, any wrestling stuff you want to close with?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Wrestling with Shadows is a great documentary. Some of it's a little dated at this point.
Show your belt. Show your belt.
You want to see behind the scenes?
You have a belt? What is this?
Show your belt.
Of the Montreal Screwjob, which is a historic day that really changed the course of professional wrestling. It's a great documentary.
People can't see it at home, but Jason actually has a huge pro wrestling belt now. It looks like a championship belt.
Well, everyone has a belt, right? Everyone put their
I have
belt
a
on
belt,
straight.
but I think it's from TJ Maxx. It's
Let
like
me ask you, Jason,
$9.99, so
did
it's a
you
little different.
just buy it or did you win it? That's an
I
important distinction.
Well, it was a gift to me for
Oh,
winning it.
okay.
I actually got hurt at a wrestling show last weekend. So I'm
I
still
don't even know
a
what's
little
going on
injured.
anymore. What the hell is happening here? All right. All three of you have been great. I really appreciate it. It was great. Really nice conversation. Have a great weekend.